Welcome back to the Cozy Cottage Homestead. Today is a Walkie-Talkie on Wednesday. And I think we're just going to do a good morning to you too. We're just going to do a little garden tour. I've had several people ask if I was even able to get my garden going this year. And the answer to that was yes, but at a smaller size. So I'm going to just walk around and show you a few things that we have planted that is growing good. And I guess Mr. Hotshot there wants to be part of the morning show. Rotten, rotten, rotten. So let's move on over here and show you the lemon balm that I showed y'all a little while back. It has completely taken over the swimming pool. It absolutely loves it in this little spot. It gets a little bit of sun in the morning, and most of the time this little area is shaded. But as you can tell, the lavender is still in there and still growing, but the lemon balm has definitely said, hey, this is where I'm going to be growing. So I may have to move the lavender, but so far the lavender is on the back side and it is still growing. So right here I just restarted our bush green beans. What they sell for garden soil these days is way too mulchy. So when we planted them directly in the green bean bed, they did not germinate. So I had to start over with the green beans and see if I can get them to germinate in the seed little trays here where you start them at, and see if once I actually get a plant, if they will do better in the garden soil. And right here we have our hibiscus. We have 2 of them. We're going to plant them out around by the swimming pool area once they get bigger. They were just a mixed variety, so I don't have the official name on them. And then the one strawberry plant from last year that is actually doing wonderful. Now I can't say that I've been too impressed with the new strawberries because they did not have them separated. And I'm beginning to wonder if they were even what kind of strawberries they were supposed to be. I know people are buying stuff and they're sold as one thing, but when you get them, they seem to not be exactly what you ordered. So let me show you those. Some of them are actually struggling. We've already picked about a dozen or so strawberries off of them. And I mean, they're not doing as good. I want them to fill out more like the other ones filled out. They're still doing good, but not as good. But I mean, I guess considering they were bare roots when I started them, so I guess they're not doing too bad, but I expected them to be a lot fuller and just completely take over these containers by now. And this here is our chocolate mint. It was in a smaller pot, and now we have moved it to where our parsley used to be and planted the parsley out in the garden. So now we have 2 pots of the chocolate mint, trying to get that one growing. Those are excellent, wonderful tasting for herbal teas. So they are doing good. They seem to like their new spot. And of course, all of the blueberries are putting on blooms like crazy. Actually, I already have berries. They seem to be coming in a little bit sooner this year. Usually we don't get to pick until the end of June, but this year it looks like we're going to be picking mid-June. Doing good. This is another bush, and I want to show y'all. There's already some purple ones, or some blue ones, however you like to say it. So they will be getting picked off here pretty soon. And we have 5 large blueberry plants, bushes. I've done lots of videos on blueberries and different things to do with them. but they are doing actually really good, and they're coming in early this year. So we should definitely have a bunch of blueberries. And over here we have some of our herbs, different types of mints, rosemary. Rosemary's doing wonderful. We have our oregano and our thyme. Both of those are doing great. And oh my, that celery plant. The other one that I started did not make it, but this one here is making up for it. Now this was a homegrown, regrown celery from the grocery store. It is definitely a good, gotta be 2 foot tall. Fixing to harvest it and either freeze it, chop it up and freeze it, or dehydrate it. It made a lovely celery plant. And this is where we have most all of our tomatoes planted. Some of them are actually starting to turn, like that one right there. And they are putting on the blooms, y'all. They have tomatoes everywhere. And some more blooms up here. So it won't be long and we'll be having some tomatoes. And these plants on the back here, we've already staked these things out and staked them out. You can see there's a window right there. Let's back up and show you how tall they've gotten. And then we have these little tomato plants here. Excuse me. Cherry tomatoes. We did not get them staked out yet, or staked up, and they are just growing all over the place. We have to take time to come tie them up. It has been challenging having a garden this year with so many different doctor's appointments. And of course, now my neighbor's dog is going to be crying because she knows I'm out here. She can hear me talking. So yes, it has been a challenge with so many different doctor's appointments. This is our ginger. And then this is where we restarted the parsley at. This was 2 plants. Now it has already gone to seed, which is kind of what we wanted it to do, so that we could keep on. It will regrow itself, reseed itself. It makes really tiny, fixing to be making little bitty tiny seeds. So the parsley will definitely reseed itself right here in this little bed. And that was the ginger. Some of the ginger. We have more ginger planted all over. But the parsley's doing pretty good. It didn't seem to like it here at first, but now that it's been here for a minute, it seems like it's doing pretty good. And over here we just have some oddball kitchen herbs, some mints. This is, I believe, a well, I can't remember which one it was. I think it's apple mint. And then we have the green onion. Some of it's going to seed. And then we have a pineapple mint. And of course we have some dandelions growing in here. We do use the dandelion leaves to make salads when they're fresh early in the season. And I think this one was a pineapple mint. And of course we have our turmeric. It comes back every year, and it is doing just lovely. So every other year we pick the turmeric and dehydrate it and make our own turmeric powder. So yes, it does grow good in the south because we are kind of not tropical but hot and humid, so it kind of mimics that tropical type of weather. So we have had really great success with growing the turmeric. They make just a beautiful, lovely plant, really do. I mean, it's just amazing how beautiful just a leaf can be. And of course, you see we have lots of dew. Every day we water the plants, but the Lord waters them every night, every morning. When we come out here early, there is dew on the plants, so the grass is always wet, which is a blessing because we are watering our plants and we know they are getting what they need because the dew here is so heavy every day. So if you've ever thought about growing turmeric and you live in the South and you need more information about that, just let me know. Send me an email. I'll be happy to share with you what we've done and share with you how it works for us. I think I may have done a couple of videos on turmeric, on harvesting turmeric. So there is some information on my channel about turmeric. But you're welcome to send me an email as usual, and I will get back to you as soon as I can if you're interested in trying to grow some turmeric if you live far south. So right here along this little fence side, we have a peach tree right here, and it did put on some peaches, even though we've got to get it staked a little better. It's kind of leaning, but it took off. Let me back up so y'all can see how it looks. It definitely took off. And I'm going to try to get up here and zoom in on some of the peaches. They're small, but they're still peaches. So we might get just a few. And some of them don't look the best, but this was the first year that it bloomed. So, you know, next year it's going to be that much better. And this tree right here, but right beside the peach tree, is a Japanese plum tree. They make delicious little tangy plums. I think this is the year that it's going to bloom also. It's really had a lot of growth. Whenever I got this tree, it was just in like a 1-gallon bucket. They do grow really fast, pretty hardy. You just have to keep them watered the first couple of years, and then they take off like crazy. And right there is where the bloom is going to be, and it will put on some plums. Now the plums don't usually come in until it gets colder, like the beginning of fall and even into the end of fall. And over here on the very end, we have a Japanese magnolia. It was struggling. It had a hard time throughout this last summer when it was a drought. It has definitely picked up and started doing really good. Makes a beautiful purplish color flower. Magnolia is also something that I'll talk about later on. Definitely has some medicinal values and a couple different things that we can do with magnolia to help us, and it's just amazing once you start digging into the herbs. Just about everything has some kind of health benefit, some good properties that can help with all kinds of different health issues, but we'll go into that one later. So this is the sweet potato bed. I have always planted sweet potatoes here in this one spot, just where it works out good. Now don't mind the weeds. No matter what you do, the weeds are going to keep coming back. These were sweet potato slips that I started. I have an empty spot right here that I have some more sweet potato slips just about ready to go in the ground to fill in the holes. And this year, because of our health issues, we're not going to plant regular potatoes. We're just going to keep planting sweet potatoes. So on my tubs where I usually plant potatoes, I'm also going to put slips in there for sweet potatoes. But they are doing great. Definitely have to keep them watered because with the drought, you don't want your potatoes to dry up. So it is taking a good bit of watering every day, and sometimes every other day, depending on around my doctor's appointments. But we're still doing it. We're still doing our garden. Just not as much stuff as we usually have. And let's back on out of here, show y'all this arbor. Y'all are gonna be surprised. This is the grapes. They have done unbelievable this year. They have basically taken over the whole entire arbor. This was three cattle panels that we had beds on both sides. Let's back y'all on up so y'all can see just how massive. Boy, they really took off this year. Let's zoom in on some of these beautiful grapes. Grapes. Oh, and of course the dogs are going to start barking. Grapes. Now also, this is, let's see if I can back up, a whole bunch more grapes that want to get started. Now I don't even know if this lattice, this trellis, this arbor can even hold all the amount of grapes that are all over the place. And I can't even really get up underneath there really good to show you, but this thing is loaded. Now again, I do think that these crossed with muscadines, which is still a wild grape. But let's see if we can get up in there so y'all can see. It's just putting on tons and tons more blooms, and I'm just blown away. So one would ask, well, what do you fertilize with? Well, if you've been watching my channel very long, you know I use just rabbit manure. That is why we keep rabbits. Everything is fertilized with rabbit manure, and we try to water our stuff regularly, and so that's how we keep it going. We don't use chemicals. The only type of chemical that we use on any of our vegetables is 7 dust, because I feel like it is one of the most natural. Some would disagree, but if we need it, that would be what we would use, would be 7 dust. And right here we have one squash plant that took over 3 feet, and also has another squash or two planted in there, but for some reason that one squash just took over. So for y'all square foot gardeners, there was no way 3 squash was going to go across this raised bed. This one plant has already put on over a dozen squash. Now there are another couple of plants down here, but they have gotten snuffed out. See, there's one right there, but there's just one massive plant right there. And it was just a one plant that I had that came up. So I said, well, I'm going to stick it in here and put a couple of them in here that rooted, and that I started from seeds. Excuse me, I'm watching the bumblebee flying around pollinating. But so I said, well, I don't have any place to put it, so I just stuck it in here. And this was going to be the bell pepper bed. Bell peppers are doing good. Now, again, you know squash, they take up a lot of stuff from the ground. They need a lot of water. So we've had to water the bell peppers really a whole lot to make sure they're getting what they need. Some of the plants did better than others. Of course, those are the ones furthest away from the squash. But they are putting on bell peppers. And this it's a yellow squash. I don't know if I said that or not. But there's some bees right there pollinating. But I am just surprised. Again, rabbit manure. This one plant even shocked me. It got so huge. And so the bed over there, that was the green bean bed. It would not germinate the seeds for what they sell for garden soil. Was more of like a mulch. So we did have that planted, but of course they did not come up. So we restarted some seeds. And hopefully once we get them up, then it will we'll be able to plant them as little plants in that bed. But if it doesn't happen pretty soon, we may miss our chance. But we will see. So this little bed over here has one little arch, one little cattle panel that goes across and has a gate. This is where I was going to plant my mirtletons or coyotes, a vegetable pear. But I wasn't sure if I was going to get them to grow, so I went ahead and used this area for my cucumbers. And man, has it been the best place for cucumbers. There's also a volunteer tomato plant right there that's doing good. It actually has a couple little tomatoes on it. We've already picked about 6 large cucumbers. I should have brought one out here and stuck it in my pocket so y'all could see it. But these are your straight 8 cucumbers. Last year I did not have any luck with it, but this year, boy, they seem to be going crazy over this spot. They really, really like it. There's just tons and tons of blooms. It's just climbing further and further up. Of course, with these, I keep missing one every once in a while, so the cucumbers have gotten really large. But I tell you what, some salt and pepper, and I'm about to have some tomatoes ready, and a little bit of vinegar, olive oil. Oh yeah, definitely eating fresh. And this side over here was going to be where I plant the other melatonin, and we had more tomatoes. Volunteer tomatoes come up in the compost. We're not complaining. They are doing great. Now I think they are cherry tomatoes. I have 1 zucchini plant. There's supposed to be 3 across here. So 1 zucchini plant and all of those couple of squash plants over there and the 1 massive one. And if you look right there, I have a really nice zucchini that I need to get to picking. Hopefully she puts on a few more for me. So another volunteer tomato plant. Now this is going to be your cherry tomatoes, which is great just to eat right off the vine. But hey, it wants a volunteer, so we'll go for it. And here's some more. No, I did not plant these here. I did move them in a row up against my little lattice right there, my cattle panel. But my mirtleton was supposed to go here. And I am excited to say, one mirtleton did make it and is doing just fine. The other one didn't, so I guess that's not too bad. One made it, one didn't. It was a lengthy process germinating the mirtleton. So once these all get finished, I'll just keep up potting the mirtleton, and then I will come plant it on one side or another, and I'll show you that plant in just a second. So this is the mirtleton that I showed y'all on one of my live videos, a vegetable pear, also known as coyotes or coyotes. It's like a squash. They are very delicious. It is already putting on little tentacles, and it is ready to find the vine. But like I said, I wasn't sure if it was going to do its thing or not, but it did. Now this one over here did not come up yet. I'm still waiting. It's still possible that it may. But they say once you get one going, they're pretty cool because they come back every year if you keep them protected from the frost and from freezing. And then this one vine should produce about 20 to 40 vegetable pears. And you don't really need a whole lot to cook a meal with them. They're really good. There's tons of different recipes out there for them. So they are actually something that grows quite well here in Louisiana, which was new news to me just a few years ago. So I think that's about all for the garden tour today. Just want to share with y'all some of the stuff that is growing and doing good. We also have some more tomatoes right here. I think these are what they call I think they're going to be like a black cherry tomato. I forgot what the name was. Someone gave them to my husband at work. So we planted them right here, and they're doing really good too. So, but everything that we have planted in the garden is doing good. We just went with a smaller scale. So, just wanted to give y'all an update. I know it had been a minute since we had a video up, but hopefully things are going to settle down here before too long. I think I'm about done going to all the doctors, having all the tests done. So hopefully things with the doctor start slowing down. So thanks so much for joining me today, and thanks so much for your patience. I know it's been hit and miss, but I appreciate each and every one of you that understands and has compassion for others going through health issues. So thanks for joining me today, and y'all have a blessed day. Farewell, Homestead family, friends, and neighbors from the Cozy Cottage Homestead.